Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am going to do some sharing, but I've got a little bit of a speech that I prepared first, and it'll give you a little bit of gist on what I want to talk about on the stream. This speech is titled "A Time for Men to Stand." That's what it's titled. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather at a time when silence is no longer an option. We are watching something unfold across the Western world, a quiet war, not fought with bullets or bayonets, but with words, with narratives, with the slow erosion of identity and dignity. It is a war on men. Let us speak plainly. This is not about grievance. This is not about playing the victim. It is about truth. It is about responsibility. And it is about the place of men in society that seems increasingly eager to forget what manhood means. Across our schools, boys are told their instincts are wrong. Their energy is a disorder. Their desire to protect, to lead, to build is toxic. The very word masculinity has been chained to shame. We were once builders, guardians, labourers, barbers, priests, and soldiers. Now we are told to sit down, be quiet, and apologise for virtues that shaped civilization. But I say this, enough. This war on men is not just a cultural issue, it is a national crisis. When men fall, families fall. When men retreat, communities collapse. And when manhood is mocked, the nation forgets how to stand tall. Strong men built homes, they raised children, they defend the weak. They endure hardship without complaint. They do not vanish into self-indulgence or despair, but look around. Too many men are being lost to suicide, addiction, aimlessness. Why? Because we have stripped away the meaning and demanded they apologize for their very nature. The modern world calls this progress. But it is not progress to erase half the soul of a people. It is not progress to demonize strength, to devalue fatherhood, to dismantle the sacred bond between man and purpose. Masculinity is not the enemy. Cowardice is. Bitterness is. The lie is. Man must not shrink to appease a society that has forgotten its roots. We must rise not in anger, but in dignity, not with vengeance, but with vision. Let us raise our sons to be honourable, not ashamed. Let us remember that chivalry is not dead. It is merely unfashionable to those who do not understand it. Let us be men who lift, who protect, who build, who believe. We must revive the noble call of manhood, not as domination, but as service, not as entitlement, but as duty. For when men remember who they are, nations remember who they are. So I say again, enough with the shame, enough with the silence. Let us stand firm, proud, unyielding, not because the world asks us to, but because our sons and daughters deserve a future built by men of strength, of honour, and unshakable purpose. Thank you very much. That's my little intro speech. Now, I'm guessing people would think that's amazing or anything. Chat GPT, easy done when you do. And I just put in one line and it came out with that. I have juggled a couple of words in it, but chat GPT, I'm sorry to say, but that's what it is. You know, men built the world. Men built the Industrial Revolution. Men, all the science that we do, airplanes, steam, electric, power, all done by men. Now, you know, it's a patriarchy. You've got to put up with it. And the patriarchy has dominated the world's civilizations for thousands of years, nothing else. You know, there's a place in society for everyone. And I believe that the man is masculine. The man is there to lead and protect. I do honestly believe that. And defend values. And you heard them in there, and I can't agree with this more, and I think Pat will agree, but like when you take that bond away from a community, the community shrivels away, you know, because you've not got the man who will stand firm and stop like the antisocial behaviour in the area. You ain't got that man no more. He's weak. He's too afraid to say anything, you know, and, you know, it really does give you a bit of sense of where we are now. Pat, what did you think of my speech?
Yeah, it's very good, John. Very good, and this is a big part of why our society's falling apart. And there's two politically correct terms what have been the battering ram against the male, alpha male, father. And those two politically correct terms are sexism, sexist, you're a sexist, or you're a misogynist. This is the latest one, misogynist. And these are basically anti-Christian and anti-male politically correct terms, which basically originate in the Frankfurt School years back in the 1930s or whenever it was. It was a Jewish think tank and with communist ideas, and they wanted to bring down the Western world, the Christian world, basically, because the father and the family unit is very important. So their whole aim was to basically attack anything which was strong. So they would attack Christianity, the father, nations, nationalism. You know, anything what was strong, they targeted it. And their first target really was Christianity. That was their first thing. They want to get rid of communism. That's the first thing they want out of the way. And in Russia, when the revolution happened in 1917, they executed about 20,000 priests and destroyed many churches. And so, yeah, these two terms, sexism, you know, when I was growing up in my family, I could see the attack on my dad from my sisters and my mum, and it's sad to say, but that's the truth. And I saw it, and they got it all from, you know, our education system, you know, all these woke teachers, cultural Marxist teachers. So, you know, Frankfurt School, cultural Marxism, that's what has basically driven this, and you know, they just don't want white heterosexual men anymore, do they? That's the general feeling within our society. But things are changing. Things are going to change rapidly. It's going to switch back all across Europe and North America. Christianity is coming back. A revival's happening, and the man will be important again. The father will be important again, and you know, we've got to fight back. We've got to be part of that fight. And, you know, and also you got that the term feminism. That was basically one of the battering rams against the father, the male, masculinity, like you said. And you know, it's terrible. It's terrible how they've demonized. You know, they go on about how they're against demonizing people all the time, and they're constantly demonizing white people and heterosexual males. And it's terrible. So Christianity is the answer to it all. And we've got to get rid of these communist ideas out of our society, because that's what's really dragged us down. And it's all originated in the Frankfurt School. That was their plan. They got kicked out of Germany, they fled to America, they spread it in America, and then it all came from America to the UK. That's exactly what happened. Because I remember being young. I was young and I was thinking, where the hell is all this crap coming? It's all coming from America. And I started getting angry with the Americans. You know what I mean? And it's not the Americans. It's this bloody Frankfurt school. And, you know, yeah, so these terms, like we're quite, you know, we're quite passionate about this fight back against political correctness in our party. We tend not to use, we don't validate these 7 politically correct terms, and sexism, misogynism, Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia, racism, and anti-Semitism. There's 7. They are the 7 main
deadly sins. The 7
the 7 deadly politically correct sins. Don't validate them. Don't use them against your enemy, because we've got to brainwash our population not to be scared of them. But if you're going around calling someone one of those things all the time, you're not going to want to be called it either. So you got to just nullify it. Don't acknowledge it. You know, they're all misleading. To their thought crimes, basically. Any ism and phobia is a thought crime. So the best way to describe things is to put anti at the front of it. And because when you say anti-white, that means something's happened already. If you say someone's being anti-black, something's happened already. But when you start saying ism and phobia, it's what's going on in someone's head. Nothing's really happened. And that's what's destabilized our society, because everyone's using these terms, which are basically anti-Christian and anti-white. And it's destabilized our society. So, yeah, we you know, if you look at our about page, we're trying to you know, trying to push the message of not using these things, this politically correct language, and that's the one way we're going to free society, because everyone's in chains, worried about these words and that. So, you know, but yeah, what else could you add to that, John?
Right, so yeah, totally agree with Pat. We shouldn't be using the 7 deadly politically correct sins, which they are. But yeah, it's been a slow. Well, it's been a slow process to start off with this since the Frankfurt School, but the last 20 years has seen a massive explosion in all this kind of thing. More so in the last 20 years, but it was a slow process, and it's well documented and mapped from like World War II. What happened after that? But anyway, I just want to say, like Pat says, don't use these words. Unfortunately, loads of you lot, people who I might know, people who are on the so-called patriot movement, you're just the same. You are the same as all these people. When it comes down to this men thing, you are the same. You are perpetrating the attacks against men. And why do I say that? Because I've had the odd attack over my ex-girlfriend of people who've never met us. So you're perpetrating these things. You're perpetrating them as much as anybody else. And, you know, I'm not picking on a certain, I'm telling you all that that's what you're doing. And, you know, you really need to come off it. I don't do this kind of rubbish, but I'm not saying that I'm not infallible. I have been politically correct in the past, just a few years ago, which was really awful. I realized what I'd done straight away, but I was politically correct. But, you know, we strive not to be like that now. We are the politically correct people. We are what we say, and we want to keep it like that. But, you know, I've been on that line where I've like supported these Frankfurt Maxi. We've all done it. Everyone here has done it one time or another. You've gone along with the program that Pat was saying about how these words come in and said these words. It's simple as. But, you know, I want to tell you a story. So it's between 2007 and 2012, when I'm in Bradford. My dad passed away in 2006. I got a cushy job in Bradford, and I went up to Bradford for 5 years. And I met someone, he had a family, and over them few years, or up there, them 5 years, I'd see him, he'd come back. But in the end, he ended up splitting up with his missus. And I have told this story, but not really publicly. And the names of anything to do with the case, it wasn't like, it did come out in the public, but it wasn't highlighted in any media or anything like that. But in the end, the daughter ended up suffering from the breakup, which opened the path to her being groomed. And it were at some South Yorkshire schools that have been highlighted over to do with the Rotherham abuse scandal. It was the same schools that she was going to. And, you know, there was, in Bradford, there was a couple of car salesmen. One of them's called Bash, Pakistani guy. He drove us there. There were me. There was a mixed race lad, then this white guy who it happened to. And we went to a police station in South Yorkshire, and I think it was about late 2008, early 2009, something like that. And we spent a few hours there, and only under threat of arrest did we leave that police station. We had evidence, the guy had evidence, enough evidence to give to the police for him to start an investigation, and he never did. And there was, because of public pressure and the Jay's report come out, there was more investigations. And years later, 2017, I got sent off one of my contacts on Twitter. I got sent an article and had the guy's name on who'd done this stuff. And there was some other evidence and details that I managed to acquire. But, you know, like, I couldn't believe that they were ignoring us. I couldn't believe it, guys. Obviously, I know there's problems in the world, but this is me having to see this problem firsthand. I really couldn't comprehend it. And when I come back in 2012, I was so motivated to get politically active and to be an activist. And I've never looked back, guys. And I said, and you know what? It were 4 men. It were 4 men who did that, who thought that we should be protecting our honour and protecting our mates' honour. 4 men. Now, I'm not saying women couldn't have done it. A woman involved did try to go to the police, but they were just ignoring her. So as men, we stood forward to go up to be counted, and we went there and we demanded that they take action. 5 hours later, we're being threatened with arrest. And then I've come back to Yorkshire in a foul mood. And, you know, I've never looked back, guys. I've never looked back that I should be there fighting for the justice for these victims and things that happen against women. So, you know, and over these years leading till now, I've had women put me down. And I've had comments off women, the feminist type ones. I'm just going to play you one now by what Arut Shah said in the council, where she said it. And this is feminism, like Pat was saying, in its entirety. So let me just play that clip.
Now, when Councillor Hoban approached me about the nomination, about being mayor, what I said to Councillor Hoban was, given that there has been a situation where there has been an agreement that I've always honoured, I wasn't here 50 years ago. I'm not aware of a gentleman agreement. And there's something that we have to learn today. Gentlemen shouldn't get in a room, make any kind of agreements, because that is what's created the chaos today. So
you'll learn.
So you heard that. Now, she doesn't realise, she doesn't realise that a gentleman's agreement doesn't mean what she thought. She was saying men made this agreement. Men might have made this agreement, but a gentleman's agreement is between 2 parties. So it can be a woman, doesn't matter. And in the further video, it goes on to show that the Lib Dem leader pointed to the big wooden board that's on the back of the wall, that it was a woman who first got deputy mayor through this process of a gentleman's agreement. But, you know, that's what's wrong with her. Did you hear her? And that's what's wrong with the world. That's what's caused. That's why we're here in the first place. No, it isn't. Arut Shah isn't. Not because of men. The problem is not because of men. It's because of, like, the feminism way that woman is going, you know. And over the past few weeks, it's really ruffled my feathers. It really has. And, you know, I don't ask anyone to contact me. I do on particular issues to do with, like, being a councillor, but I've been contacted by several people because they know that I'll listen and I'll talk about the case. That's what they know. So they trust me like that. And I don't, these women that we have in Parliament, we've had plenty of problems with other women. We've seen what happened when Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner, when anyone attacks these over something they've done, then it's misogyny. That word comes out, and this Me Too movement. You know what, guys? I've been looking after my mum for 5 years. My mum, God bless her soul. And I come from a family of like just my dad and my mum and 7 sisters. So don't think that I don't know where my position is within the family. But you know, it's got to stop. This movement, this feminist thing, it's got to stop because it's really affecting men. And what's not talked about, mental health's not talked about in men, because obviously with men we have to be masculine. You just have to put up with it. And that's what a lot of these feminists, that this is their attitude with men. That's what, oh, you just put up with it. We're the worst stuff. You just put up with it, they say. And I think that the figures for suicide in like men between certain ages is like the worst. Like in the country, it's the worst thing in the world. And it's that suicide that men have through mental health issues. So, you know, the woman isn't always a victim. The men can be victims as well. But Pat, go on, carry on.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that there was a popular YouTuber called Stefan Molyneux. He was Canadian, and I'll never forget a video I saw that he did, and it was all about the welfare state and the suffragettes. Now, the suffragettes, as everybody will know, were fighting for so-called women's rights, and so they would get the vote. But a lot of people don't know that when they did actually win their so-called campaign, there was still a lot of men who couldn't have. So only what it was the only people who owned land could vote, and it was only men. So when the suffragettes won their campaign, the women who were the wives of the men who owned the land, then they could vote. So the men, working class men, they didn't have to vote then anyway. So it's all a bit misleading, the whole thing. But what his point was since the suffragettes got their vote, and fast forward to today, the welfare state has crippled the West. Every single nation in the West is trillions in debt to the bankers because of the welfare state. And he was basically trying to say, since, you know, women got more and more power, it's financially crippled the Western world. And you know, I think he had a point basically. And like today, you know, like they're trying to say, oh, isn't it great? We've got half the MPs in the Houses of Commons are women. And then they say, oh, but misogynism, this politically correct word, misogynism's through the roof. Well, maybe there's a reason why before it was just men in these sort of places, because, you know, when men and women mix, some people might fall in love with another one and the other one not interested, and it becomes a problem. When I went to school, all the entrances for the school, it was boys and then there was girls. So our whole society was segregated with women and men for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years. And, you know, we had the most successful empire the world has ever seen. And society seemed to be functioning quite well. And I think Stephen Molyneux, with this video that I watched, made a very good point that, you know, since women got the vote, you know, slowly but surely, we're trillions in debt for the world. That's what created the welfare state. So, and incidentally, I've just done a video on a suggestion for a policy. Shall we scrap the welfare state? Now, I'm not talking about for disabled people or elderly. I'm not talking about those sort of people. I'm talking about able people between 18 and to say, I don't know, 50, 55. So that would include single mothers and people on housing benefits. Not should we scrap the completely scrap the welfare state by making those people do some sort of community service to get that money? Because if they had to go and clean the streets or clean graffiti off or whatever, a lot of those people would be flushed out, and they wouldn't carry on. But yeah, so I've done a little video about it. So just putting the question out there: should we be scrapping unemployment benefit, housing benefit, child benefit for physically abled people?
Well, remember the welfare state was only there to back us up, Pat, weren't it? Like, so if, like, say you were a miner and your pit closed, you get welfare state until you got a new job, which was the steel factory down the road. You know what I mean? And that's what it was there for. It was there to protect you for illness, yeah, obviously. But now the welfare state, people live off the welfare state. It was never the welfare. That's not what the welfare state was for. It was not for a family to live off the welfare. That's never why it was first made. And that. I want to just go to the suffragettes. So yeah, so the suffragettes. I mean, women's rights and stuff like that. But the suffragettes were only fighting for their rights. They weren't fighting for the working class women. They wanted rights for them wives who were rich through inheritance, so they could vote. They weren't, but this is the age we're in now, how they term things. They were also the first registered domestic terrorists on UK soil, which was in Northern Ireland where they started, and then they used to attack the shops and the places in London. So I'm just saying, and I'm not, if you know me, I don't believe that violence is necessary to win your political opinion. I don't believe that, and I never have believed that. If we have to resort to violence, we might as well just go back living in the Stone Age, as far as I'm concerned. Women shouldn't be on frontline policemen. They shouldn't be, because they can't. A policeman is a big guy who can handle people. When you look at these videos, now you see these little women trying to take on men. It's just not a role for women. It really isn't. It's not a role for women. And I'm not saying there isn't no roles for women. There's plenty of roles for women in society that are just as important as anything else. But, and a lot of the women we have in Parliament now are only there because they tick boxes, guys. That's why they're there. A lot of the women that, you tick a box, woman, LGBT, person of color, or mixed race, whatever you want to say, and you tick it, and they're not worthy to be in them positions. They're not. And that's the women. But I mean, it's a lot with the guys as well. They're not worthy to be a member of Parliament for this country. They're not. And they're in positions like that because of box tickers. And I'm not saying a woman can't do these positions, but if we look at biology and how we are, these kind of positions are men positions, like the policeman who's the frontline policeman and stuff like that. And I've been honest about that. I have fought for women's rights. I thought that, like, women are women and trans women shouldn't be going in women's bathrooms. I have a family with like 7 sisters and my mum, and I just looked after my mum, so I understand these places. I understand all that, but policemen, no. There is no hardly any women bin men. Women in war. There is some women in war, but it's still majority men, and it always has been majority men. If you look at the flyer, out of 10 million men who were drafted in the Great Wars, First and Second World War, 5 million of them were from Britain, not the colonies. They were from Britain. So, what sacrifices did he think that men make for our days and our culture and our morals and our country now? Men have sacrificed a lot. So you women just better be a bit more respectful. And I'm not saying this as a nasty man, but there's also other reasons why men are not men, because they're being feminized with this LGBT rubbish. And I'm just going to come into that. It's Pride Month. So James Crane, one of our members, has suggested we're going to do a video on that this month, and it'll be next week, and it'll be about Pride Month. But our men have been feminized. We've took the masculinity out of them. They don't know where they belong. Now, when their hormones and all that are working, they don't know where to put their aggression or them kind of feelings and stuff like that. And they like them trans women. They attack you. They physically attack you and stuff like that and get away with it. But yeah, you know, just you better be a bit more grateful, some people, about men, Pat.
Yeah. So basically, they're really like pushing young women into university, saying you must get educated, you must prove to men that you're just as intelligent, all this kind of propaganda. And they get to the age of 30, 35, and it's too late to have kids for a lot of people. You know, they can't, physically can't have children sometimes at that age, and it's terrible that the demonization of men, which they use to promote this thing, like, oh, we don't need men for anything, this, that, and the other, and it's really sad. It's our birth rate has plummeted. No one having children, and the abortion thing as well. That's another thing. If a man gets a woman pregnant, and the woman decides to have abortion, the man's got no choice in the matter, so they can just go and do it, and there's nothing they can do. Like, the man can't do anything about it, and it's disgraceful, really. So yeah, they've taken the man out of the equation. Basically, it's completely taken the man out of authority, and things have got to change back to the way they were, at least a considerable bit. And if it doesn't, our society's going completely the wrong way, and the only solution I can see is Christianity, because before all this happened, we was living in a Christian society. So yeah, but those suffragettes, they're might have a lot to answer for, the suffragettes, because that was brainwashed. That was brainwashed into me when I was young as well. They're so great and all that, and I'm not sure they were so great personally.
No, honestly, and you know what I said about they weren't bothered about other women. They only bothered about the rich women. That's all they were bothered about. They weren't bothered about the working class woman. But obviously, it all caught on, and then and we could make it bigger. But that is absolutely factual, guys. I don't care if you think I'm lying or anything. Google it up and research it. But coming back to men, so obviously everyone will know what's happening with the child sexual exploitation, aka rape gang crisis. So in the Rotherham, in the Jays report, in the Rotherham area, a dad and his son went down to get the daughter because he knew which kebab house above which takeaway she was, or which house she was in. And when they got there, they started to try and get in the door. The police got called, then the police arrested the father and his son, and then arrested the girl for drinking beer, but didn't arrest the perpetrators. That's what they did. And it's not really widely known to anyone is what goes on behind the scenes, or how many people are threatened, and how these families are targeted, and these people are just left to threaten them, and nobody does nothing. The scale, I've been to dozens of court cases. I've listened to all these transcripts. I've sat down in court taking notes, hours of notes. I've notebooks full of notes to do with cases, and all this is behind the scenes, and no one sees this. So, but two men went down to protect the daughter and got arrested. Now, there's no Maggie Oliver doesn't have a foundation for them. There's no them men too movement for them two men. There is nothing for them. Them two men have been lost in the whips of political correctness and nobody talks about them. So don't say that men are not in the position to do the right thing when they are. This is what's getting me. And, you know, like I said, I just looked after my mum for 5 years, and that's a bit of a feat. And like, still, people will blame men for everything. And I totally agree with Pat. This has been a long time coming. It started off slow at first, but I tell you, in the past 30 years, this has been absolutely bashed and imprinted on our kids' and families' houses. We see the breakdown of the family unit all the time, and in particular articles about families and what people have said and stuff like that. And Mer, a black woman, Gloria, I think she was called, she was running for Mer in London. And she wrote down on a flyer that she thought that the best way to raise a family is in a nuclear family unit. And she got cancelled, guys. She got cancelled, and she took the local council to court, who cancelled her. Just saying that. That's all she said. She didn't say anything about abortion. She didn't say anything about trans people. She just said she believed that the family is best being brought up in a family unit, the nuclear family, and to get cancelled for it. You know, like, we've got to get over all these things, guys. We've got to get over all these things. That woman knows the best way. Right, I'm getting my badge now. Keep showing off my badges. So, the new, I don't know if you can see. New NHP UK key ring, and it's lovely, and it's even got it on the back, guys. It says it on the back as well, just on a little bit of raised on the back. And what are they? Are these nickel? Did you say?
Yeah, yeah, they're nickel. So these are the party logo on a key ring. My camera is absolutely rubbish, but you could just about see it there. They're very nice. You're basically giving a little donation to the party if you buy one, and you're getting something to keep for life. So they're £10 plus postage. So if you're in the London area, I could get one to you personally. But if it's we've got to post it, it's £4 extra for the posting. So please contact us. Email us if you want one of these key rings. You can get one for £10. 3 for 25, and we will be opening up a page on the website, merchandise page soon. We're going to get some mugs as well, some party mugs, and yeah, these key rings are really nice. It's an excellent souvenir to promote the party. Put it on your key ring and stuff, or even buy one for a gift for someone who's patriotic and they want to change to the nightmare of the Dlive Con. Talking to the Dlive Con, I was out campaigning today in King's Cross. Had a mammoth, absolutely momentous leafleting session. 3.5 hours non-stop, like constant blocks of flats, just like hundreds. And we've done about 1,000 leaflets. Myself and Dee Dee, who is one of our activists who regularly helps me leaflet. And that's the map I've done today. So if anyone knows the King's Cross area, that is just south of the station. You've got Cromer Street, and you've got Judge Street, Gray's Inn Road, that area there. There's a massive council estate there. We managed to get that all done. That little ward there is next door to the ward where I stand. And you know, I'm very well known now in my ward, and I'm hopefully going to get a very good vote next year. The countdown is started. You know, it's less than a year now to the election. I've got to really keep up the pressure. The sitting councillor in my ward has thrown the towel in because of my pressure, I think. He doesn't want to go for it. He doesn't want to challenge. He doesn't want to compete anymore. He's thrown the towel in, and absolute coward. And because I think he knows Labour are finished. Labour are collapsing all over the country. And you know, I've got a lot of people saying they're going to vote for me next May. And we should have 3 candidates in Holborn and Covent Garden. Should have 1 candidate in that ward with Leaflet and Staying King's Cross. Should have 1 in Regent's Park Estate, hopefully, and 1 or 2 others around London. 1 in Mitcham, 1 in Sutton, and everything's going really well. We need more people coming forward. We want more candidates. You know, there's a lot of different parties out there at the moment, and you know, if you like the look of our party, contact us, have a chat with us. We can speak to you on the phone about standing in local elections. We've got the best vehicle. There's nothing to be frightened of. We don't go around talking about deporting millions of legally settled migrants, which is going to put people nervous knocking on doors. Yeah, we do want to deport illegal immigrants and foreign criminals if we can, obviously, but you know, we've got sensible policy. The first goal we need to do is stop permanent settlement immigration. You know, that is the ultimate long-term goal. No more giving out UK passports to foreigners. It should never have happened in the first place, but we are where we are. We've got a number of good policies. We're preparing a new warm-up leaflet with some interesting topics on it: farming, HMOs, B&Bs. You know, these are plaguing a lot of communities. These things, and also right to buy. We were talking about, you know, we should be stopping the right to buy social housing, council flats and stuff. We're talking about, should we have referendums on major issues like the death penalty? You know, if we go to war, like what Keir Starmer's doing now with the Ukraine, he signed us up to 100 years support for this country. Like, you know, he didn't even ask us. No vote, no nothing, no referendum. So also the farming problems with the GM food and the inheritance tax. I mean, it's terrible what they're doing with the inheritance. It's not just the farmers, because the inheritance tax is for everyone. So your family could have a nice house and they pass it down to their kids. It's worth £1 million. Was it what they take? Was it 40% or something? So that's 400 grand will go to the government. That's disgusting. And what are they going to spend that on? Giving it to Ukraine and paying for hotel bills for these people coming in on dinghies at Dover, which no one wants. So yeah, it's all looking good. So please contact us. If you know, even if you can just support us by joining. The more members we got, the more motivation it gives for our people. We have an officers meeting every month. You know, if you're really keen and you want to get involved, you can come to that. We had that officers meeting last night. Very good meeting. Really productive. Even though quite a few people couldn't make the meeting, we still had a very good meeting. Yeah, things are looking really good. You know, this is going to be our most important year. We've been around for 3 years now, and this is going to be the most important year. We've got 6 candidates who could win next May, and that is quite incredible from something what started from nothing. You know,
can I just say,
yeah.
can I just say, like Pat was saying, what we have a monthly meeting. And we invite people to the meeting. And I'll tell you what, every time we've invited someone to that meeting, they've joined us afterwards. And it's been we've had quite a few like guest people. Like I said, we have a monthly meeting. We don't keep anything from our members or anything. If we've got a new policy on the thing, it always goes to them to be checked out. And you know, like scrutinized or whatever. So you know, we're very open like that. You know, and that's been a bit of a problem that in the past with some groups, but we want to keep it like that. And we are having a big conference at the PTSD camp in Bath as well later on this year. But if you get onto our website, and I'll put that in, I'll put the link in the website in the chat. And you can sign up for our emails and that and find out more about what we're going to do and stuff.
So, yeah, we've got the conference on the 23rd of August at the Veterans PTSD Camp in Bath. It's going to be a great event. Lots of speakers, barbecues all day. You can bring a tent and stay there on the evening if you want, or the night before. myself, John will be speaking, and quite a few other people. And John's got a lot of content, a lot of input for the PTSD camp. He's been involved with a lot of the stuff there. So it's going to be a really good day. Should be a lovely hot day, August the 23rd. Please email us if you're interested in coming. The merchandise will be on sale down there, the key rings and the mugs. And it's just a good time to meet everyone. We've got quite a few people now who've been involved from the beginning. And it'd be really nice for us all to be together and at the same venue, having a chat and enjoying some food and refreshments. And yeah, it should be a really good day, John.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I just want to. You'll have watched the streams, late night veteran show stream for a year, but we just started a reboot course, guys, last night, which my third course, and it's a trauma healing for everyone. But I'll be updating you on that. Hopefully with a reboot show. Actually, a weekly or 2 weekly reboot show, and we've got Jackie, one of the girls who follows us on YouTube, supports us, comments all the time. Jackie's on it from Birmingham, and I'll tell you that she said this morning she struggled for a while, many issues, but like she's glad she went through it, and that she was able to talk to people within the thing, and she's liking it. So that's a good start. And it's Jackie's first time on this kind of course. But yeah, so we started that up. So on a Monday, 13 weeks. But I will update you either on this show or we'll do a separate show about it. And like I said, we're having a meeting at the camp. It'll great. We've got some really good speakers, and there's going to be a lot spoken about. But you know, like, guys, you know, like I see a lot of activity on social media and that, but things aren't going to change until you stand up. And me and Pat believe it's political, the local council route. Now, if you don't believe that, then you believe in something else. Just do whatever you can. You need to get voting. People need to really show their heads above the parapet. I don't really interact much with anyone who don't show the face. I just haven't got time for them. I show my face. Everyone knows my face, from Andy Burnham to the local election secretary. Everyone knows my face, and I don't hide it, and I'm a real person. But you know, those who hide behind a mask and are active on social, you're not really doing anything, guys. It's negative to what we want to do. And there is lots of groups and that, and I hope for them the best. But you know, we're not going to be able to like clear out the UK so quick. We're gonna have to take time with it and stuff like that. But you know, good luck to everyone. Get politically involved. That's what I say, and then I'm sure we'll sort this government out. And I can see it coming. Now, I know reform have been mentioned a lot, but it's not reform in Oldham particularly that's going to win. We've got 15 independents in Oldham Council, which is absolutely unheard of in all of Oldham's history. And, you know, people are breaking away from voting for the Lib Lab Con, no matter what way you look at it. And there's lots of groups and parties actively trying to get council seats and member of parliament seats and stuff like that. Now, once it gets broken up and people do start voting differently, it'll be a lot better for us, and it'll be a lot better for the small parties like ours. It'll be a lot better for the independents and stuff like that. But like Pat said, if you're interested in the party, get in contact with us. You can come on our next monthly meeting. You can hear what we're talking about and interact with us all, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. But National Housing Party all the way.
Yeah, so the 23rd of August is the conference. We're not charging for any tickets, but we are asking for a donation on the day. So do come down there. It's family friendly. It's on a farm. It's got lots of animals there, horses, donkeys and stuff for the kids to see. And but yeah, back to the local elections. This is what this party is all about. This is why we started it. It's for local, to try and win local elections. And basically, we've got 6 really hopeful candidates next year. We've got John Lawrence in Oldham, Angela Kingston in Grimsby, Carl Butler in Ormskirk, and hopefully myself and 2 others in Camden. And, you know, Labour are they're doing so badly. I don't want Keir Starmer to resign, because I want him to make it even worse for Labour, so less people will vote for them when I stand next May. So I want Sadiq Khan there, and I want Keir Starmer there to make it worse, so that the Labour get an even worse vote. But yeah, I mean, it's just a case of getting out there, speaking to the public. It's literally like taking candy off of a kid. It's like, you know, like everyone wants immigration stopped. You know, everyone wants to stop accepting refugees for housing. It's like it's just it's a common theme I hear all the time, and that's 2 of our main policies. So you know, it's just common sense things. And the attack on the motorists, I don't know if you've heard about what they're doing on Oxford. They brought out these new laws in Oxford that people can only drive their cars. So this is like insane, man. This is like proper communism. Like, they're saying to people, you can only drive your car a certain amount of times a year, trying to control everyone's movements. It's our human right to drive cars around. You know, in London, they've closed so many roads, and they don't want people to drive, but it's okay for Keir Starmer and Sadiq Khan to drive around in Range Rover, well, 3 or 4 Range Rovers in a motorcade. You know what I mean? So, you know, we've got to fight back, guys, and this is a big part of my campaign. Is about, because it's not just the driver who needs these cars. There's old people, there's disabled, there's women with kids who need cars to drop their kids off sometimes to places. Single women out late at night, they want to get dropped to their door and they can't because one of the roads is closed. They've closed, and they might say to her, "Oh, can you just walk that last bit of the road there?" And you know, because they've done so many of these LTNs, lower traffic neighbourhood scheme, road closures. So it's going to get me a lot of votes, that issue alone. The housing is obviously the biggest one, and that's the name of our party. But the road closures in London is just, there's so many people angry about it. And if I win, that's going to be a big part of my speech. I'm going to say we're going to stand in every single seat in Camden until all these road closures are open. And that might even just the fact that I might win, and I say they might get scared and they might just start opening them again, because this city, these roads have been used for like hundreds of years, and they've just closed them. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. It's going to be a big summer, I think. Politically, things are changing rapidly. You know, reform probably going to be the next government. I'm not a fan of reform, but you know, there's going to be change, and I do want Labour to lose. I do want the Tories to lose. I do want the Lib Dems to lose. I do want the Greens to lose. I do want the SNP to lose. So they
will lose votes. They are losing votes. The last general election, Labour got in, but they'd lost a hell of a lot of the votes, and they did in Oldham, Ashton, and Rochdale. That you won't see on the media, but they did lose votes. There's going to be Angela Rayner could be losing a position in Ashton next election, and I've heard that she's looking for a new constituency to support. So that's how big it is, guys. You know, and Angela Rayner's deputy leader of the government. So yeah, it really is all to play for, guys. No matter where you look at it, no matter who's involved, it is all to play for. And this is a time. When Pat first approached me about the party, we totally agreed. This is a time. These are the years that things are going to change, and things have changed, guys. Politically across the country, things have changed, and I think it's all good. No matter who changes it, I think it's all good for the future and for getting more involved in local politics, and more people are coming forward as well to get involved. That's the main thing. And you'll be surprised. Actually, when Pat was in Oldham and was knocking, he knocked on a door. And he had a chat with a woman. Then the woman emailed me. And when I went back chatting with her, she said, oh, I couldn't be a counsellor. She was a governor of a school. And that's the kind of people who end up being counsellors. Maggie, she was called Maggie. And she said she was a governor of a school. And I said, yeah, but that's what people are on the council. They've been governors of schools. So you work on a board and you've got to meet up every now and then. It's just the same as a council. And, you know, as well, you'll do well if you're a people person. If you can sort people's issues out and stuff like that, you'll do well in elections. You really will. Don't be daunted by what goes on. Don't be daunted by, like, Angela Rayner, the woman with no morals who sleeps with married men. Don't be daunted by her. Don't be daunted by her. Think about your morals. If you're standing up and you want to be counted, you're already halfway there to being a decent British citizen. So come on and stand up. Don't forget, follow all our links. Thank you, everyone, tonight. I hope you enjoyed my speech at the beginning. I will be cutting that up, but I did it with Chat GPTD or whatever it's called, with just one word. But we're the Nationalising Party. My name's John Lawrence. Next to me is Pat McGinnis. And come and join the fight back. Come and join us.
One more thing, John. One more thing. I mean, this stream's about the attack on men. And I don't know if people remember, but when Jeremy Corbyn was the leader of the Labour Party, they always made sure that there was always women behind him in the visuals, the shots, on the TV and stuff. And it's like, what I should be thinking, like, what are they doing? Like, how's that working out for the Labour Party? Like, prioritising all these so-called minority groups. They've just destroyed themselves. They are literally finished. And we need a masculine Christian nationalist party to retake this great nation. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Seen some good comments there. Thank you very much. Couple of 100 people watching us. If you'd like to donate to us, the links and hot topic on here next week. And I've been to a lot of demonstrations and political events to do with this sort of thing, so I'm in the know-how. But thank you very much. God bless. Good night.